Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. So today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about hedging, because talking about hedging and knowing how to hedge is different than actually doing it. So I, on Monday, created my cash account in Robinhood. I called it Leverage Trash because I'm going to be moving my leveraged high income ETFs to this account, and then my individual account that has margin in it will have less volatile things so that I don't get margin called, which is my biggest concern with this, besides earning enough money so that I can continue to live off of it. So for leverage trash today, nobody feels good about hedging until days like today. And today, my leverage trash account is down 6%, which it's a cash account, so I'm not concerned about getting margin called, and I like all of the assets that I'm in. I'm in MST, which is 2X MicroStrategy, MSTW, Ulti, which is Ulti, honestly. And then Ulti has a larger basket of stocks, but they're all higher implied volatility. So when there's a downturn, it will have an outsized going down. And then we have NVYY, XBITI, and PLTW. So this account here is mostly AI and Bitcoin, and just like a token amount of a diversified holding, which is Ulti, which even Ulti has a lot of AI and Bitcoin related things within it. And so if you look at, this is my leverage trash and the equity that I have in there, basically a quarter of my portfolio is in MST, a quarter in NVYY, a quarter PLTW, a lot in Ulti, and then just a very token amount in MSTW. So I only have a few different tickers in here, but they all have the same theme. And so on Monday, with my individual investing account, I did several things to hedge. So also, on Monday night, I looked at SLTY, which is the inverse strategy of Ulti, but it's not an inverse of Ulti. And their margin maintenance requirement is now 25%. So I went ahead today and bought a lot of shares. That way it's 5% of my portfolio right now. So your hedges in your entire portfolio, direct inverses, should be around 20% of your portfolio. If you go over that, then basically you're just, your portfolio won't grow in the way that it's supposed to. So I like SLTY because it pays weekly and it's going to be higher implied volatility than something like YQQQ. However, YQQQ has the better total returns, but inverses in particular are supposed to lose money over time. So to me, it's more useful to get the income. That way, on days like today, when the market is going down, I can have more cash more regularly to buy into stocks when they are cheaper. So YQQQ pays every 4 weeks in Group D for YieldMax, and SLTY pays every week it's on Fridays, but Robinhood pays it on Friday night, so Monday. But my biggest concern with using income related for inverses is the upside of these inverses are capped. Just like with a cover call strategy on a long option or a short option, with shorting these stocks, there is also a cap for how much these will go up. So if there's a really large movement in the stock market, my inverses will get capped. However, a lot of the newer funds that are coming out for high income are actually using call spreads or put spreads. So they actually have a max to the downside too. So it's basically like putting my own collar on without it having to do my own options. But if you look at something like, so this is my leverage watch list here. And so SQQQ it went up 1.45% today. So SQQQ is 3x minus the NASDAQ 100. And TQQQ is the 3 times short position. So I always get those confused because it always sounds the opposite. But this is the positive. It should go up and to the right over the time. And SQQQ is literally shorting the NASDAQ 100. And so the problem that I have with using SQQQ or something like VIXI is that whenever I notice that the market is going down, I have to buy in, and then I have to time my trade because the market can turn. It is 3 p.m. right now. At 3:30 p.m., the entire market could be like, oh no, just kidding. And then my position in SQQQ is way down. And then I'm just going to continue losing money until I sell out, because there's no reason to not sell out if the market's doing well, because you're just going to lose more and more money. So I don't particularly want to try to time the market, even if it is just doing SQQQ or buying a protective puts or anything like that. It's not intuitive to me. I don't like doing it, so I would rather just buy into an ETF where I can stay disciplined and keep things in the balance that it needs to be in. So technically, if SLTY, and I'm saying that SLTY should be about 10% of my portfolio, well, SLTY plus YQQQ, those two together should be about 10% of my portfolio. And then WNTR should also be around 10% of my portfolio. So they're at 5% right now, which is better than it was on Monday. I just don't want to buy into the shorts when the market's doing bad, because that is how you buy when it is completely like at the most money. Anyways, so if we go to leverage my individual investing account, so the leverage trash is down, I said is like 6% today, right? So it's down 5.71%. With my hedging that I'm doing, which the direct hedges I have are my SLTY, YQQQ, and winter. But I do also have my gold positions, which are not a direct hedge. It's just that they're not correlated to equities. So these have been doing well all day. My SLTY is up 1.02%. And I think that's what I was trying to say before, where SQQQ is up 1.32%, but SLTY is up 1.02%. And next week on Wednesday, I'll get another distribution announcement, and I will get a distribution from it. And I'll be getting paid tomorrow night for the distribution from this week. So, and then YQQQ is only up 0.5% today, but it is up today, which is nice. So this is down 3.41%, and it's largely the same kind of holdings, except we have gold, we have hedging, and a couple of other non-leveraged things like Bitey and YMAX. But let's look at the actual holdings. So individual, and it is sorted by my equity. I still have way too much ulti, but it is not a third of my portfolio anymore. So it's more like 15%. And PLTWs also, like these are all now around 10% of my portfolio. So technically, if these were in different sectors, this would be more diverse. And so I would have more of a chance of this actually doing well in the market, except again, I'm in AI and Bitcoin and gold. And so it's like for the leverage stuff I have is mostly Bitcoin related with MicroStrategy and AI related with NVIDIA and Palantir. So I'm going to be really glad because I'm slowly going to transfer my stocks that are leveraged from my individual account into the leveraged trash account. That way I don't have to, because 20% of your portfolio, but if it's leveraged, you actually need more of a hedge because you're going to have a more outsized downtrend. That much, I'm not willing to do more than 20% of my portfolio in a hedge at all. So just because I'm on this tab right now, today in Financial Philharmonics, we have I Hold, Ulti, and Pray. And it's a gospel-inspired song about I had so many bills to pay and no other income coming my way, but how else am I supposed to survive? So I hold, ulti, and pray. I was talking last week in the pit, which is the Twitter space that Ambassador Kwan hosts, and the Ambassador Kwan, I said, I'm hold, ulti, and pray, that is my hedge. And he said, oh, you should make that a song. So we got that going for us. And then I'm not that concerned about a 50% drop in the overall stock market in a day. And the reason for that is that after the 1987 market crash, where it did actually go down 50%, they now have circuit breakers. So at level 1, if there is a 7% dip in the S&P 500, then we get a 15-minute break from their specific hours, but basically 9:30 a.m. until 3:25 p.m. At level 2, it's a total of 13% drop. So it's not like a further 13% drop. So if in a single day it goes from the $0 to negative 13%, then we get another 15-minute breaking period. But then if it goes another 3% down, they're like, we're done for the day. That's it. Cool off. You are in timeout. So there's nothing to say that there couldn't be multiple days of this, though, or that if you have a 7% drop on day 1 and it doesn't hit level 2, but then for the rest of the week, we could have, 5% drop, 5% drop, 5% drop, So it's not that it's impossible to have a 50% total decline. I just don't think it's going to be in a single day, especially if the levers and the circuit breakers work the way that they're supposed to work. Like they're really, I guess, in a really fluke instance, it could go from like a 0% gain to minus 50% in like half a second, and the circuit breakers don't go, and then the market's down 50%. But usually I'm just going to assume that it's going to be just a little bit more gradual than that. So we're not going to get more than 20% in a single day. And what happens is people are like, oh no, we're close to that 7% drop. we're just going to sell because what if there's no more money left in the market or everything's going away, the apocalypse is happening. And so it has like a feeding frenzy that happens with that. But with a 20% inverse hedge in my portfolio, I asked Perplexity, and it might not be completely true, but this entire portfolio could go down 56%, and I still would not get a margin called. And if my entire portfolio does go down basically 60%, I kind of deserve to get a margin call. So another way to hedge is just to have cash to be able to buy into the dip, because if my entire portfolio is going down 50%, of course I want to buy more because my stocks that I believe in, that I have conviction in, are cheap. And so when the way that this works is like it'll go down, people will be fearful, go down, people will be fearful. But then the best days we have in the market come like right after that. So if you just continue to buy and you believe in the stocks that you're in, then in the end, we have to believe that it's going to turn out okay. So in the past, I've been very clear about this, but I have too much margin out and I am in too leveraged of things for this to be like a comfortable stock market for me. However, I feel better now that I do have hedges in place, even if they're not perfect. And I do like options collaterals more than I like margin, because the worst case, well, when my portfolio goes down, the value of the option does not go down until, like, for example, this morning I did do an MSTX option for $18, which I'm pretty sure by now it's below $18, but on Friday it'll get assigned to me. And so if we wake up and MSTX is only worth $10, then it'll drag down my entire portfolio. But what I'm planning to do is when I get assigned MSTX, if I get it assigned tomorrow, I will put it into my cash account and just do cover calls on it at $18 until MSTX moves back up. So I'm pretty excited about doing a dividend wheel on MSTX again, because it helps me be more in tune with what the actual implied volatility is now for Misty, so I can be more engaged when I do my Misty prediction videos. But the good thing is, even though this is 100%, like, you can't, this is not marginable, and it doesn't have the same tax benefits as using an ETF. I do like this because the value of this doesn't change, so it's more predictable what my margin is and if I'm going to get margin called. And so if I had more in options collateral versus having margin used, I think I would be in a better shape. But it is what it is, and I did buy more things today because, well, we're having a little bit of a dip, and buying the dip is a good way to hedge yourself. Anyways, so I do have my MSTX options collateral, and I had 40% margin buffer, but I bought into things, some little things today, mostly more SLTY and a little bit of XBTY. So having more cash and money available to you to buy the dips is a good thing. Another hedge that people have is just having a job, not being totally reliant on the stock market, which is not something I'm doing right now. I do have some income from YieldMight and this YouTube channel, but it's not enough to pay my bills if, like, the absolute worst thing happened. But I'm not that concerned about the absolute worst thing happening. Anyways, I was having a little bit of a distracted day today because I got invited to Stocktoberfest and I was trying to figure out like how I can make this a thing. I even invited my mom to come with me like the weekend before to, go to the San Diego Zoo, and we both like to do like those nature hikes and things. So I might be doing this, I might not, but I didn't realize, I don't know why I never clicked on things, but you could also go to, it is $1,000 per ticket, but there's going to be there's going to be a summit where you do investing and trading. There's 2 tracks. Okay, see, I'm not even paying that much. Okay, so I probably do the investor relations and retail investor engagement thing. And then they have a lot of people like the CIO of Asymmetric and presidents and CEOs and managing partners and found like a bunch of people that are have a lot of influence. They have the director of exchange traded funds from the New York Stock Exchange that's going to be there. So this will be interesting and a good networking event if I go. But I clicked into the hotels and it's like $500 a night. So I found a hostel that's really close by. That's only like $150 per night. But that's also another reason why I bought into some more things today, because I'm going to have to make more income so that I can do things like this when I get invited, because it is a way for me to grow my brand and to get more sponsorships and just eventually earn more money. So anyways, I'm not the best at hedging. I do recommend trying to figure out how you want to do the 80-20 in your portfolio. There are drawbacks to doing income generating inverses. However, I like them better because I don't feel like I need a time getting in and out of them. I can just get paid from them. I know that my stock value is going to go down over time. And as long as I maintain the proportion I want in my portfolio, then that is totally fine with me. Because days like today, where my entire portfolio could be down 6%, but it's only down 3% because I hedged it, then like the proof is in the pudding that we're doing something right. Anyways, I'd like to thank the 3,766 of you that decided that you wanted to subscribe to me and make your bad financial decisions together with me. And I'd also like to thank Shane, Bill, Padraic Spalding, BGP Automotive, In My Opinion, Jetta, and Omega Werewolf X for being members. You're really helping me do YouTube and YieldMight and everything full time. And what are you all doing to hedge? Do you prefer doing your own options? Do you prefer doing inverse ETFs that are not income, or do you usually use these income generating shorts, or do you just have cash? Like, what are you doing? And I'll talk to you all later. Bye.